you all for joining today. We're going to talk through change and how we use lean tools during disruptive times, just like what we live in right now. Just like this image up here, change is inevitable. It's going to happen to all of us. So it's important truly how we respond to that change and embrace it moving forward. Let me go to my next slide here. Okay. One of the things I have been reflecting on as a lean leader lately, and just to back up a bit, I work at Methodist Health System. We have a lean team that's 4 individuals, and we support change initiatives anywhere from culture to project management, and then how we stand up teams and build and support and engage them through change for our entire health system, which spans Iowa with a hospital and some clinics all the way to Fremont. So we have 4 hospitals, we have over 30 clinics, we have a corporate office, foundations, and then also a college. So one thing that I've really been reflecting on as a lean leader lately is not who I am, but what my story is. And the way that I came to this work is through a personal experience where I was taking care of a patient and an error happened. And from there, I became very passionate about how do we make our processes stronger so they can support individuals through their work. Because truly, normally when an error happens, it has little reflection on the individual and more reflection on the processes that we put forward. So I encourage all of you to think through what your story is, not what you do, but how and why you do it. It's a very important aspect of change management to bring forth the why to all of our processes, including why we do what we do. So everybody go ahead and open up the chat. Tell me, what do these 2 things have in common? So as we all know, COVID pandemic, disinfectant, and then Netflix on the other end, streaming services. So Amy says, hi, need for both of them. Great call, Amy, we do. And one other thing that is similar for both of these is that they're disruptors, which cause the need, right, Amy? So COVID came in and disrupted all of our lives, and we've had to make immense changes because of it. And so it's an external disruptor is how I would qualify it. And then on the flip side with Netflix, that's actually a company who disrupted their own industry with an idea that they had. So the founder of Netflix used to work at Blockbuster and said, hey, I have this great idea. Instead of having physical movies in a store, why don't we bring a service directly into the home and have people pick exactly what content they want to watch? And as we know, Netflix is here and it's thriving, and there's a top 10 list of content that we all are funneled to consume each week, and then hundreds of other things that are within the service. And now they've been on the leading forefront, and we have other streaming services that have come forward. And I just read this morning that the last Blockbuster was actually converted into an Airbnb. So this is leading disruption. That's what Netflix did. So there's 2 types that we have to deal with in this world, and I prefer the Netflix type disruption rather than the COVID type disruption, as I'm sure everyone does. So it's important to remain consistent so we can be that disruptor of our own industries and spaces rather than being disrupted. Chad, good call. We are dealing with both Netflix and COVID on a daily basis on our couches. Let me make this chat smaller here. All right, so moving on to the next slide here. There's 2 aspects of leadership. It's leading ourselves and then leading others. And it doesn't matter if you're within the formal capacity or you're an informal leader. These 2 aspects are essential. Both what you do for yourself and what you do for your teams or your community around you are very important. So for the rest of this time that we have together, we're going to discuss what you can do as an individual and then what you could do for your teams. And I just love this giraffe. He's poking his head through the clouds. He's standing up from the details and looking more at long-term strategy And really, that's what we're going to have to do right now during this disruption in order to move forward and be successful. All right, so from a personal perspective, so personal clarity leads to team creativity and, frankly, individual creativity. Until we have a very clear mind, we won't be able to have the opportunities to have those really great golden ideas that come to us that can make huge change. So in order to create that clarity and consistency, there are 3 different things that I'll present today as tools. Leader standard work, 5 S's, which is sort, set in order, shine, standardize, sustain, and then mistake proofing. First up, leader standard work. So this is a document that I actually use personally every week, and it outlines my daily personal activities and my daily professional activities. And the reason the personal is above the professional is because I truly view that if you don't show up as your whole self to your work, you cannot be a strong professional. So that's why mine are above my daily professional. In that top gray box, I usually put an inspiring quote or reminders of individuals that I want to send kudos or thank you to. And then the action register is really the to-do list. It's what do I need to focus on in the week. In fact, here's my own personal one sitting at my desk. I mark it up, I write on it. Sometimes I use the back to take notes, I add stickies. I take this thing with me everywhere I go. The only other thing that I have with me more is my cell phone. And I noticed lots of changes, but one of the biggest change was my email inbox. I was drowning. I couldn't keep up with all my emails. And now I go home usually with less than 5 to 7 emails a day that I need to follow up on the next day. So it truly has given me a lot of time back in my work to be able to focus on the things that are important and truly thrive and not feel like I'm just putting out fires, but I'm being strategic, thoughtful, mindful. One of the other exciting things today that's come out of it is a huge amount of cost savings for one of the projects that I had. And because I have standardized my workflow and really organized myself, I've been able to find that creativity to find cost savings in different ways than I never had looked at before through my work. So leader standard work is a really great way to show up as your whole person, stay organized, and really get to thinking forward rather than fighting fires. Does anybody recognize this individual over on this side of the slide by chance? I'm going to pop over chat and see if anybody knows. Amy knows who it is. Amy, who is it? Yes, Marie Kondo. So going back to Netflix, probably most people have watched Marie Kondo's series about how to get your life in order through organizing your home. And I argue you need to organize all aspects of your life too. So the 5 S's can be used in your personal life, it can be used at work, and it's really truly how do we organize ourselves professionally. So sorting everything, setting things in order, making sure they have their space, cleaning it up, standardizing it, making sure that we every day make that effort. We were just talking about this morning about kids have to be reminded to clean everything up, keep it in order so that then they can find it the next day when they're ready to go to school. And the 5 S's is a great way to do that. It's particularly important how we use it is with our supplies and making sure that all of our supplies are in the right order, we're ordering the right quantity, we have the right thing in the right moment when the right person needs it, whether it be a provider or a patient. And it has hugely changed the amount of time we spend during procedures or how quickly we can care for a patient if they're in an inpatient bed staying the night with us. So 5 S's, another really great personal tool to get your life in order, just like Marie Kondo says. So Marie Kondo, your professional life too, is my recommendation. All right, popping back to the chat, tell me what the difference is between these 2 pictures. They look pretty similar, right? So one's half and half, and one's egg whites. Just the other day, without having the fridge organized, I put egg whites into my coffee instead of half and half. So this is a classic example of mistake proofing, where I should put the half and half in a different spot of the refrigerator than the egg whites, because when I'm tired in the morning, it's easy to get it confused. Few examples of this practically are, in the healthcare setting, we put our different oxygen heads where you stick the tubing in different spots. So the tubing size is different. So you can't put the wrong tube onto the wrong oxygen. And when you go and get your gas too, the diesel nozzle and what it fits into is a different size than the non-diesel fuel, because you have to shove the diesel pump into your car if you don't have a diesel car to do it. So those are classic examples of mistake proofing. And in our work life too, it's important to think about those things. What's really similar, just similar enough that if my day is busy, I can make a big error. So again, this is another great tool to build up during disruptions, because when we're disrupted, we're less organized, we're less on top of everything. So if we have mistake-proofed our lives, we should be able to not make the same types of errors. All right, so the next aspect was the team of giraffes that we saw, the herd. It's building community. So in Lean, we have lots of tools and lots of things that build foundations for high performance in our organizations. And I argue the most fundamental aspect of a Lean culture is respect for people. If we don't respect every single individually equally, there will be no way that we can make change, because every single person that is involved with our work is essential, and we should honor what talent they bring forth. A part of respect for people is leadership, and leaders don't dictate change to individuals. They coach, they lead, they influence, they elevate, they encourage. That is a huge aspect of a Lean culture and building community to be very mindful of as a leader. Part of that is role modeling behavior, and then part of it is bringing forth your team together. So a great tool for that from a Lean perspective is daily visual management. Okay, good. My mic is back. Glad to hear that. Thank you for that. All right, so daily visual management. It brings our teams together. Right now, it looks a little bit different in our hospitals just because we're all masked up and we're not as close as we normally are, but we're still getting together and remaining very consistent. So this is the board that we use to bring our huddles together. It helps us identify problems, brainstorm potential solutions, have accountability for who the owner and submitter are of the idea, and then the owner comes back with next steps until there's a resolution for change that has helped the problem, and then it's communicated out to everyone. A huge aspect of this is much like a Kanban board, just moving forward and keeping sure everything's on track and we see problems through to solutions. The next aspect of it is metrics. And the important aspect of having the metrics on there is the connection of the strategy, or what we're truly focusing on for the organization, the true north, whether it be your mission or one sole focus for the year. That metric then goes all the way from the level of the board and leadership to the frontline staff members who are really impacting and seeing the change. So the metrics allow each team to really think through that, and it drives future problems that are identified. So if we're slipping on one particular metric, then we can talk about it at our huddle and work through what would we do within that shift or that day at work to make some changes. So a great example of this is hand washing. One of the teams over here wanted to work on perception of hand washing. So we asked all of our patients a question about hand washing. And this team wanted to hit the 100th percentile. They wanted everyone to feel like they were always washing their hands at all times. Even though we do audits, we know that we do it. There's a difference between actually doing it and engaging the patient so that their perception is that we're always doing it. So what this team thought through in their shift was, we're gonna take this hand sanitizer and we're gonna actually rub our hands while we're walking into the room, and then say, you know, I gotta let this dry for a minute, I'm washing my hands because I wanna make sure that everything is clean and safe for you. And by having those small conversations consistently every day with the team, they see improvements in their metrics. So that's how daily visual management can drive a high-level strategy of safety and cleanliness all the way down to the team level and how they can make improvements and changes. Another aspect on our boards is communication celebrations, and this looks different for every area. You can see Dwight from the office is on this board with a meme. They do jokes and quotes. Other people do stories that we receive from our patients, but there are a lot of things to have fun here. And another aspect of this section is some serious topics of any safety things that we can learn from, or just different reminders, like we need to do our annual education. This team actually uses cat magnets to talk about what their shift status looks like. So if in a particular area more people have called in, or they're just down individuals on the schedule, but they have a really high patient day, they will actually flip the cat upside down. So everybody just understands, hey, this area is going to be really busy today. If you have any bandwidth, come down and help us out, whether it be turning over beds, walking patients, just any small thing that we can do, again, to respect our teammates and provide them support. So that is an aspect of building community and bringing teams together from a lean culture is daily visual management. It connects all of those high-level strategies to the team and engages them to be the change makers and to cultivate improvements in their areas. All right, so back to the chat. I want to hear from everybody. What tool do you think that you can use in your toolkit that would be best right now to help you through this disruptive time? Amy's going to use 5S and Marie Kondo her life. I'm doing that right now too, Amy. I, in my office, actually have reorganized some of my spaces too, so everything comes a little bit more, close to me, and I'm not searching and trying to find different files. Same with my laptop too. Chad, I agree. I like to use 5S's both personally and professionally. And when we teach this topic to our healthcare providers, we actually talk about those personal examples so it can become a little bit more applicable to what their day-to-day looks like. Amy, I echo your sentiments on visual management. It's a really great way to view exactly what's going on, get a pulse check of the day, and how we can move forward from a broader perspective. So one of the bits of feedback that we usually hear from those that have these boards within our health system is for nurses who go from one area that they typically work in to a different area. And by having daily visual management, they feel more safe, they feel more engaged in what's going on into the new area that they're moving into. So they say to me, don't take it away. Please don't take it away ever. We really enjoy it, even though it's a 5-minute quick huddle that we go through and we talk through a lot. It really does make a huge impact and change on the day. All right. So the last bit before I open it up for just broader questions is the two core tools here. There's lots of different things that we have that we'll send out to everybody, but really it's respect for people and consistency. And this picture says it all. If we don't water our plants, if we're not consistent and we don't respect the plants that we have, even in our own offices, there's no way we're really going to make change. And the most fundamental part of disruption is making sure that we're consistent throughout all of it. And mostly that's the awareness of consistency. And these tools, leader-centered work, 5S's, mistake proofing, visual management, all give us the ability to remain consistent even when times are very trying like they are right now. So with that being said, I will open it up. If anyone wants to unmute or throw their questions in the chat, I would be glad to take them and just have some more dialogue about these lean tools. Chet has a great, bigger, broader question. So does Methodist partner with other organizations who are working to become more lean? We do. We're actually a part of Catalysis, which is a value network, and we're connected to lots of different institutions across the U.S. that are in this work and can help us through what it looks like. So one of the things that we are learning is how do we deploy strategy and how do we do a feedback loop of communication so that then all of the messaging can be consistent throughout, and then leadership is aware of problems that they need to make changes for within one shift. Yes, Chad, I will share all those resources in the email so that you all can use them, and please take them and make them your own. This Leader Standard Work document is an adaptation of others that had shared it with me. So it's really truly how you make these tools personal to you so that you can use them in a really dynamic way to help you lead change, move through change, and remain consistent. Amy, thanks for that feedback. I'm really glad that the sentiments of consistency, communication, and transparency are helpful, because truly that's how we become the strongest leaders possible for both ourselves and then the teams that we work with. Great question, Chad. So if an organization's just starting the change management continuous improvement process, what resources would I suggest starting with? Mark Graben is a really great lean professional who brings forth lots of different resources. This is a great book. It's specific to healthcare, but it's really applicable to other industries. There's another one called Lean Healthcare too, and he started writing books that are cross-industry as well. So Mark Graben is a really great resource. I also find great value in connecting with other people who have started a change management department or continuous improvement journey. So if there's anybody out there starting this workout and they want to touch base more with me, I can also put my email out for everybody so that you can reach out if you'd like to. I'll throw it in the chat right now. Amy says Lean Startup's also good. I'll have to check that one out. There are some really great resources out there, and I will say I have my certification in Six Sigma, which is truly the scientific method processes. I mean, it goes beyond that, but that's the heart of it. And then there's agile processes that talk through sprinting and how to make change quickly. And I truly find through my experience that the lean tools and the lean resources have a great way of sustaining change in a way that everybody feels it's personal to them and they're engaged and connected in the work. So let me see other questions we have. Amy has one. Which professional organizations do you follow to remain updated on lean management tactics? So another great resource is the Iowa Lean Consortium. They actually have a really great set of tools, and then they have an annual conference too that brings together people from all different industries. The Shingo Institute too also has some really great references that can be helpful, and certification opportunities too. And I'm sorry, that question came from Amanda. That's what I would suggest, ILC and Shingo Institute. Awesome, Chad. I definitely look forward to that. Does anybody have any final questions? I'm going to grab a few emails that were here for reference to materials. If anyone wants to throw in their last few emails, I will stay on for just a little bit and capture any of that information. But thank you all for attending. It was really great getting to interact with other individuals who are strong supporters of change and lean. So if I can be a resource to anyone, please reach out and email. Be glad to help out. Thank you all. Looks like a recording will be up on YouTube later this week if anybody wants to come back and reference materials. Thank you all.